today is give you an overview of my background, how I selected my college, and then I'm going to walk you through a typical day of what it was like for me to be a student athlete at Purdue. So that's going to include what it was like in season, off season, and what it was like to travel. So I started off when I was 3 years old, a very young age, and I was very fortunate enough to have parents that dropped me off at summer camps every summer, so it was something that kept me occupied, and it was something that I really loved, so it was something that I continued to do. At the age of 5, I started competitions, and they were local, and then that grew into U.S. Kids competitions, local tournaments, like the JGA. Has anyone here played in John Petronis's tournaments? JGA? You have? Okay, they're pretty well run. And I've played them until I was about 15, 16 years old. And then I kind of went up another level and tried to do the AJGA tournaments. Now those are a little more difficult because at first you have to do, I think they used to call them like star tournaments. You had to earn your stars so that you could end up signing up for like the open tournaments. And that was the next step to getting into playing more on the national level, which gives you more exposure. And that seems to be the big breeding ground for coaches who are looking to recruit kids like you right now. So I'm guessing all of you are around, what, sophomore, junior? Freshman? No? So I got exposure through playing AJGA. We did have like the Hurricane Tour, IJGT, but my parents had a budget, so we had to be a little more strategic about what events we played. So there were a lot in the PA area, or sometimes we have to travel maybe to New Jersey or Florida. There's also a lot of good tournaments in the wintertime. It can just be your regular amateur tournaments. For ladies, I know it's the Sally, the Harder Hall. Those are really good tournaments to get into. Guys, I'm sorry, I don't know what amateur tournaments there are out there. Also, has anyone heard of Pepsi Little People? Out in Illinois, they're a good one to look into as well. So this is going to basically segue into me talking about how I selected my school. So I had no idea how to go about the process. So about sophomore, junior year, I had a friend that came up to me and was like, wow, you're doing really well. I've been looking at your rankings online. Have you thought about what school you want to go to? And I'm like, no. And I was like, where are you looking at these rankings? Has anyone heard of Golf Week junior rankings? For a scoreboard?
At JGS?
Yes. So another one, a good ranking site to look at is golfweekranking.com. Coaches are big on that. And it shows you all the rankings for colleges. They'll rank the teams, they'll rank all the women and men individually, and they do junior golf rankings. So they basically take into consideration all the junior tournaments that you play that are national or within like the state that are pretty big. What else? So if you play a lot of AJGA, your ranking is going to go up pretty high. Any AJ or IJGT or anything like within the state, like if you play like high school golf, if you make it to states, that'll be taken into consideration for your ranking. Also, I don't know if you guys are getting exposed to this now, but I started to receive my junior year a lot of questionnaires. Has anyone gotten any of those? Anything from school? No? You might start receiving those. Things might have changed, but I do believe coaches do send out questionnaires to players that are probably like within like top 100 or maybe top 200. They'll just send it out. And those are something that you do want to fill out and probably return to the coaches. And they'll usually ask you questions like where you go to school, your GPA, all that. They want to know how long you practice, where you spend the most time practicing. I got a lot, and it was very overwhelming, and it really made me think about how to narrow down the choices of schools. So here's what I'm going to really recommend is making a list. Even if you don't get questionnaires, here's what you want to do. I highly recommend making a list of what you do want out of a college. So, example, I know I wanted to be out of state. I wanted to get away from home. So I don't know if you guys are uncomfortable with that. So that might be an example. If you want to stay close to home, that's fine. If you want a big institution, Purdue was huge. We had just under 40,000 undergraduates. So if you want to look for a smaller school, that'll help narrow down your search so that if you do get replies from bigger schools, you don't want to waste their time and be like, thank you very much. This is what I have in mind, but you don't have to discount those letters or anything that when the coach reaches out to you. So make your list. Whether you want to play D2, D3, or D1, that helped me narrow down my list. So I had schools that reached out to me from the south, out west, and I also had schools that didn't reach out to me where I took the initiative to go online. I'll give you an example. Duke and UST, Southern Cal, were two schools that I really wanted to go to, and I thought my level of golf was good enough to play for them, and it really hurt. So I took the time to write an email to the head coach at Duke, and I never heard anything back. I wrote another email, and I made a phone call. So I really did my best to reach out to the head coach at Duke, and I still didn't hear anything back. So I left it out of the way, and basically I went on and I contacted Arizona State, Sun Devils, and USC. And I never heard anything back from those two coaches either. So it hurt, but that just probably meant it wasn't for me. I wasn't going to waste their time, so I moved on. And basically, the majority of schools that were left for me to decide from were some from the SEC or the Big Ten. And how I came to learn about Purdue was actually me asking questions. So I had a question about how the rankings worked on golfweekranking.com, and I emailed, his name was Lance Wrangler, and he emailed me back and gave the answer to my question, and he's like, hey, I'm looking at your ranking and your scores, I think you should look at Purdue. So he was best friends with the coach there, and he said, here's his email, why don't you try to reach out to him? And I reached out to Coach Browse. He got back to me, and what I did was I sent out like a schedule of the tournaments I was going to play for that summer, which was the summer of my junior year, going into my senior year, and he showed up to most of them. A lot of them were HAGA tournaments, and there were some around in my area. He also took the time to follow me in tournaments that he couldn't make it at. So that's how I knew he was also serious about me. You'll know when it's the right fit for you, when you reach out to a coach and they reach out back to you. Now, a lot of them are busy, so I encourage you to email them, go online, look for an office number, leave a message. Keep in mind, if you're not a junior, I'm not sure what the NCAA rule is, but they can't call you after a certain period of time. But I think once you're a junior, after July something, they can call you. But don't be afraid to send them your resume, reach out to them, let them know that you're interested, because sometimes they don't have that time to reach out to everybody. So don't be afraid to reach out, and if they don't respond or if you get rejected, it's okay. You tried, you move on. What else? So, I want to talk to you about visits. I knew Purdue was the school for me when I went out for an unofficial visit. Unofficial visit, you have to spend your own money. and you can stay out there for as long as you'd like. As soon as I took my visit, I fell in love with the campus. It met most of the things that were on my list of what I wanted out of a college. So I didn't mind a big school. I didn't mind that it was cold because I live around here and I'm used to it. Also, another big factor for me was that Coach Rouse used to be head women's and men's golf coach. He's in the Golf Coach Hall of Fame. I knew he was going to stick around for all 4 of my years, so that was something big to me. It might be something that you want to consider. There have been some issues that I've heard about where a new coach comes in and things don't work out with the scholarship, or there might be some other factors in there, but maybe that's something that you want to consider. And he was someone that wasn't going to sugarcoat anything, so he was an honest coach, and I appreciated that. So for me, I felt like I felt comfortable choosing Purdue, and I picked that school the summer going into my senior year. That might be late. I have a lot of friends now who are in college or who have decided and they're only freshmen or sophomores. I don't know if any of you have picked the college yet, but that's extremely fast. Do any of you verbally committed? Anybody? Okay. I would suggest taking your time. Try not to feel rushed or pressured. You'll definitely have an idea of what that feels like, because I got a call from Michigan State. They were constantly calling me, and it was a little scary. Calling me more than my parents were calling me. And that was another school that I visited and fell in love with, but just something didn't feel right. So don't ignore your instincts. Follow your gut. So now I'm going to go into talking about what it's like as a student athlete. So in season for a D1 school is going to be the fall and spring season. There's 2 seasons, and you get a little bit of a break in the winter. So your typical day, my schedule at Purdue was waking up at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning, going right to workouts. This is in season in the fall and the spring. And you wake up, walk or drive over to the gym, work out for an hour, and then maybe have a little bit of time, like an hour or so before class, but I actually had class that started right at 7:30, so I had to go right to class, no time to shower. And I was in class from 7 in the morning all the way till 12:30 or sometimes 1:30 in the afternoon. You'll get to know more about that scheduling once you get into college. So basically I was in class from 7:30 to 1:30 in the afternoon. And right after class, I would quickly go to one of the nearest dining halls, at least when I was a freshman, sophomore. I lived on campus, so it was very convenient. I'd get a quick lunch, then I'd walk over to practice, and practice was from 2 to 5. And here's a little trick here. The coaches will tell you practice is from 2 to 5. They can't tell you to stay, but they will hint at you staying longer to practice. So my coach, my freshman year, I learned fast. I would leave at like 5 on the dot so that I could go and do homework, get dinner, and he's like, Aurora, what are you doing? You catching the 5 o'clock bus already? Or, he'll have his way of letting you know he wants you to stay and put in more work. So just because practice was 2 to 5, he would really want you to stay about like half an hour to an hour more. And you'll learn quickly how to manage your time so that maybe if you do leave, you can come back for another hour of practice. So I usually stay till 5:30, 6 o'clock. Then I'd walk back to my dorm, grab my books, and I had study tables. So I think I put in like 10 hours of study tables. That's a mandatory study time that was tracked by the coaches and the athletic department. Most D1 schools are like that, and it's probably a good thing for a freshman. It'll help keep them on track. Basically, the schedule I laid out for you is already predetermined for the student athlete. So you don't have to stress so much, but you do have to use that time wisely. So that's just the typical day right there. And then after I'd study till about 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'd probably leave like for 20 minutes to go grab a meal, but take that food back to the study area with me and eat and do my homework. And then after that, I'd shower and go to bed and wake up and do it all over again. Now, that's during the school week. For the weekend, what Coach did for our team was that we had to qualify on the weekend. And that means qualifying for the seed. And you wanted to be number 1. So that made sure that no one went out at night on a Friday night, got crazy because he booked the tee times early. And we usually play 18 on Saturday and 18 on Sunday. Now, I don't know if all schools do this, but I know some schools will do something like that you'll be playing on the weekends. So I don't want to say you're not going to have a social life. There's just a lot of golf, and the other part of it is just it's school. You have to do it. With that said, you're very exhausted. It's very physically and mentally exhausting. So being able to have your teammates there is an amazing thing. You'll probably be best friends with some of them. So you definitely want to lean on your teammates. Definitely try to make some friends within your class that aren't student athletes or student athletes of different sports like soccer or swimming, because they'll definitely keep it fun. They'll remind you why you're doing what you're doing, because you can get burned out fast. But just make sure that if you're not really good at managing your time now, you want to start figuring out what's going to work for you. And if you guys don't like waking up early, which is me, you probably want to start getting into a habit of getting up early, I don't know, doing some homework, or you just want to get up. You want to get into that routine. So this is going to segue into the off season, my favorite part of the year. So our off season usually ended in October. So it'd be November, December, January. So it's 3 months. And what happens in the off season is that the required time for golf practice actually goes down. I think it was like 20 hours a week, maybe a little more. That went down to 8 hours. But since the mandatory time for golf practice goes down, the coaches have discretion of bumping up the workout hours. So although we weren't required to practice golf more, we definitely worked out more. So in the in-season, we would work out 3 times a week. Workouts were bumped up to 5 times a week. So most of those we did in the mornings. I think we did 3 in the morning at like 5:30 a.m. and the other 2 were afternoon sessions, depending on everyone's schedule on the team. It might vary for all of you. So we'd still work out for an hour, but we really bulked up in the off season because we can't really play. It's snowing or it's really cold. The golf course is frozen. So as a team at Purdue, that's something that we try to do to keep up, our strengths, our flexibility. Because all we can do is just hit out of garages. We have like little space heaters. So with that, here's the thing about off season. Even if you're down south, you will still have an off season, but your coach is probably going to encourage you to go out and practice and play. Definitely take advantage of that. But what I would suggest is in the in-season, try to schedule classes that aren't going to be as important. Save them for the off-season because you're going to have more time to study, to sleep, to have social life. So you want to be a little more strategic about that. But usually the schools give student athletes first priority to registering for classes. That is an excellent perk. And that's something great to have. So with that in mind, you want to be able to manage your time wisely, pick your classes, be strategic about it. This is the time that I took to sleep or take a nap when I could. Sleep to me was very important, especially since we were working out more. We were going at it very hard. Purdue definitely bulked me up. I don't look like it right now, but I used to be a lot bigger. And I slept a lot. And even though the practice time did go down to about 8 hours, I still went out to the course with my teammates, and we held each other accountable. We'd still put in a few extra hours. And my last part of the presentation is about traveling. So while you're in season, you're going to miss school. So some things that I would take into consideration is talking to your professors. You want to talk to them ahead of time. You want to send out an email, and usually the coaches will give you an itinerary of when your travel dates are. So make sure you send out an email to them. If they don't hand you copies, make copies of your itinerary and go up to them after class. Have a conversation with them. Not all of them are going to be understanding, but they will appreciate the fact that you go up to them, talk to them. Oh, hey, Mr. So-and-so, I just wanted to let you know, like, here's my schedule. I'll be gone for these dates. And keep in mind, like, you'll have your class syllabus. You'll know, like, when you're going to miss quizzes, exams. You're probably going to have to schedule them earlier before you leave. So that's why you want to manage your time wisely. Or sometimes they'll be cool and they'll let you take it, like, after you come back from your event. Actually, some professors will even have, like, your coach proctor the exam or the quiz and let you take it while you travel, but I wouldn't recommend that, because when you travel, you don't have a whole lot of time to yourself, I want to say. You will, but not really. So when you travel, there's an itinerary already laid out. All your meals are taken care of. They're already planned out for you. You don't have to worry about booking the hotel. The coaches do all that for you. So when you're at an event playing, during the day, you're going to be up early. You're going to get something to eat. You're going to be out there playing 18 holes, and it's usually going to be slow, so it's going to take up most of the day already. And then you'll probably have lunch on the course or after you play, and then you guys will most likely be staying after you play to practice with the team, practice on the golf course, or hit balls, whatever it is. Some teams definitely do make time to go out and do some fun activities. Maybe you guys will go to the beach, or if when we were in Puerto Rico, like we went into the rainforest. But if there really is no time for that, you're just going to be playing golf, practicing, and then you're all going to be driven back to the hotel. You will have some downtime there, so you probably want to do your homework or get some sleep, and then you'll have dinner, and then you're just going to go back to sleep, wake up, and compete. So it's really tough to do homework while you're traveling, but you do have a little bit of downtime where you could do that. A lot of my teammates did it before we went on the trip so that we could just focus on the golf. So really, in summary, D1 is very rigorous. So if you think you can handle it, I would highly suggest going after it. Even if you don't think you can, learn those skills, learn the time management skill. Don't be afraid to reach out to coaches, because it's a wonderful experience. And my favorite memory about playing at Purdue was winning the Big Ten championship. It was such a huge relief, but there was so much sweat and sacrifice, sacrifice of the social life, sacrifice of sleep. But winning that was so worth it. And being able to say, like, I was a part of the team that was able to win a championship, that is something that you will have for the rest of your life, and no one can take that from you. So if you really want to strive for that level, I highly encourage all of you, and I really think all of you have that greatness within you to play at that level. And even if it's not D1, if it's D2 or D3, it's an amazing experience to be a part of a team. And you'll make lifelong friends. You'll learn a lot of skills. Some of them will probably be your best friends for life. I know some of my best friends, they're not in the country, but I still keep in touch with them.